While Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are out there, they're doing interviews that remind one of like these hostage videos, because they're getting questioned about, when we're finally going to see some action as far as some arrests, some accountability, et cetera, and they, I don't know, I didn't think their interview was very convincing. Like I said, it looks like a hostage video, but while they're doing hostage videos, Alina is doing the job, right? So last week, I put out a video about LaMonica McIver. I think her name is McIver. Anyway, a Democratic Congresswoman who was at an ICE facility and was caught on video basically assaulting police officers, ICE agents, whatever. And I was pretty pissed that she didn't get arrested. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, this is crazy. If it would have been anybody on January 6th, they would have been arrested. You know what I mean? If it would have been probably just me pushing and punching, a cop or an ICE agent, I probably would have got arrested, right? So it's kind of annoying that when Democrats do shit, nothing ever happens to them. But Alina Habba, gotta love her. I mean, not only is she the hottest attorney on the planet, you know what I mean? But she is not fucking around. And that's what I like to see, people. So that's what we're going to talk about today. LaMonica McIver, Democratic Congresswoman, has been charged and is now probably in a shitload of trouble. But we're going to find out. We're going to see. I don't want to get too euphoric too quickly. And we'll see what happens. Either way, it's Thursday already. It's the 22nd of May, 2025, and now it's 9:45 in the morning here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today. And LaMonica McIver, the Democratic Congresswoman, was charged this week by Alina Habba, who says, look, this behavior is unacceptable. And now we also have a little bit more context to the video. See, at the time, when I put out the video last week about it, all we got to see was just this video of the incident happening. We didn't know what was actually happening. There was I talked to my buddy K-Mag about it, and he said, well, what if they were trying to herd people out of a certain area? Then everybody's kind of pushing everybody. I didn't know what the context was. But you saw what you saw in the video, right? So that was enough. But now we know what the context is. So the Congress people were there doing the oversight of the facility. Now, we know it's a political stunt, but that doesn't matter because they have the right, and they should, as Congress people, to do oversight in facilities like this to make sure that the Constitution is basically being upheld. So they get to check if, the people are being treated okay, if they're getting food and water, the basic stuff. If the place is clean enough, they're just checking up on the facility. And while they were waiting to get in, the gate opened, apparently, and they rushed in, right? So that was the first confrontation, right? And the mayor of the town that they were in, the mayor of the city they were in, also came down and was refused entry because, and which is true, he does not have the right to go in that facility and sniff around. Congress people, on the other hand, do. So the cops tried to get the mayor to leave because he was also in this enclosed, safe area outside the facility. And the cops said, look, you have no right to be here. You're not getting in. We're going to have you leave. They warned him 100 times. Then they had to arrest the guy. You know what I'm saying? So as they were making a move to arrest him, LaMonica jumped in the way, bear hugged the mayor to make it she stopped. She tried to, she resisted arrest for the mayor. And that's where the confrontation got physical. And see, the problem with these Democrats is they feel like they have the right to do this, and they let themselves be led by pure emotion and emotion only, right? Emotion is the last thing on the list that you should consider when making a decision, because an emotional decision is usually the worst one. So it should be, you can't help but have it on the list because you're human, right? But it should be at the bottom, okay? And the Democrats and the left in general, the woke, the left, the Democrats, they're all one big category, just different factions of the same category. These people with this kind of worldview have the habit of making all their decisions based on emotion only. And that's why they are the more violent ones. That's why it's not the right that's so violent, like we keep hearing on news and from politicians and from people. No. The left is the most violent ones, right? And the reason for that is they cannot control themselves because they are led by emotion. They don't think critically. They think only emotionally. Both men and women. It's all the same. That's why they're all, kind of the same anyway. You know what I'm saying? Leftist men and leftist women are like the same. You know what I'm saying? And the trans thing works for them because for them, they're really the same. So anyway, LaMonica MacGyver obviously let herself get emotionally led, and hell no, she screams as they try to arrest the mayor. So now it's been investigated. They got different camera angles, different camera feeds. Alina Haba and the Justice Department have decided she should be charged, and she is being charged. Now, that could mean, in the real world, that means, she could go to prison. I mean, she probably should go to prison. No, I mean, she didn't hurt anybody, you know what I'm saying? She didn't draw blood. She didn't threaten anybody with a weapon. She didn't threaten to kill anybody. She just put hands on police officers, right? And tried to stop the arrest of a person, right? Now, we'd have to check what in that state, or I guess she's getting federally charged, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, we have to find out what is the prison sentence for something equivalent to this, right? And what the average prison sentence is, if there is one, she should definitely get it, okay? Now, if this is one of those charges that mostly people get away with some sort of probation, especially if it's first time, and nobody was actually physically harmed, and the first time it happened, no other criminal record, et cetera, and then you get not a slap on the wrist, but like, okay, you got to pay a fine, maybe you got to do community service, maybe you got to wear an ankle bracelet for a couple months or something like that. Look, if that's the way these things get charged all the time on the regular, then of course LaMonica should not get extra detention. That would be stupid, right? That would be stupid. You don't want to do that. So, but I think the average should be looked up, right? I think that they should consider the average, and if the average is there is some sort of prison time, I don't think that her being a congressperson should be taken into consideration in that case, right? Now, it might be taken into consideration because, she was elected, and by taking her out of her position, even temporarily, that's kind of affecting the voters of that voted for her, right? Also not really fair, but on the other hand, that should not be a consideration, because if that is, then basically the Congress people and people in political power that are elected basically have free reign to do whatever the fuck they want, because if what weighs the most is that they'll be taken away from the representatives that voted for them, well, that shouldn't really count, and I don't think it does. So, anyway, I don't want to ramble on too long about it, right? So, anyway, she should get the same as the average person gets for the crime that she committed. That's where I stand. Now, I hope that that's going to be made happen, right? And that's the part of it where I'm a little bit shaky on my trust in what's going to go on. And that's because, again, up till now, and I'm going to say it over and over again, I know it pisses some people off, I'm going to say it over and over again, right? I know we have to be patient. I know investigations and shit take time. But up till now, the fact is, we have not seen any accountability for anything done in the last 10 years. So no Congress people, Republican or Democrat, have been charged or arrested or investigated or any of those things for the Russia hoax bullshit, the spying on Trump's campaign, any number of things. We don't know anything more about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. There's no accountability for Epstein stuff yet. And the list goes on and on. We all know the list, right? I could go over the list every time I make a video. I'm not going to. Fact is, we all know, out of those areas, COVID, none of those things have seen any accountability thus far, and I am skeptical we're going to see some. And the reason for that is, I think that a lot of the administration under Trump is afraid that anything that looks like retribution at all, even though it's even though it wouldn't be retribution, it would be following the law. Anything that looks like retribution, I think they are trying to stay away from, or at least certain people are trying to stay away from. And again, Donald Trump doesn't run the whole government on his own, right? So we can't really blame him for that, because a lot of these decisions are being made autonomously without Trump, right? And I'm sure that Trump is putting pressure here and there. But again, these people, they are looking out for their own asses, right? They act like they're on Trump's side, and some of them are, absolutely, right? But a lot of people are covering their own asses and don't want to be backlashed on by the Democrats later on. The problem is the Democrats are going to backlash them anyway, right? Anybody that's involved in the Trump administration now is prime target number one when the Democrats get power ever again. That's why I keep saying, never give these people power again. They clearly have not learned from losing it. They clearly have the same agenda all around. They are not backing down on anything. They're doubling down on everything. Don't give these people power again. It would be a massive, massive mistake that everybody in America is going to pay for if you do. So, anyway, Alina Hobb is one of those people that just seems like she's getting ready to take it all the way, whereas a lot of other people seem to be kind of backing off a little bit, right? So, like, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, look, I love both those dudes, right? I think they're great. I think they're great dudes. But their talk and their rhetoric and the way their fierce attack of deep state and all the criminals in the government and all of that shit seems to be tapering down quite a bit, which is a little annoying. Now, I get it. Maybe it's because, look, now they're in these positions and they've got to tame it down a little, right? It's possible that that's the way you look at it, right? I can accept that as a reason. I would not do that. I would double down mega time, right? And maybe that would be a mistake. I don't know. I just know I would do it, right? So the fact is, I don't know why they've all of a sudden, they haven't changed their tune, but they're a lot more quiet. They were out there roaring before. Now they're going, yeah, now they're talking like the average FBI director and deputy director, right? The people we've seen all our lives. They're sounding more like them than they're sounding like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, like we know them. That's concerning. I have to say, that's concerning. So, as far as accountability goes, we're going to find out, right? Now, look, there's another Congresswoman, and this is why, and this is the prime example of why we have to see accountability swiftly, why we have to also start playing a little bit the same fire with fire game that the Democrats try to play, right? We really have to start playing that game because they're forcing us to play it, right? So now, just yesterday and the day before, another, this time a state representative from Tennessee, a woman named Aston Ben, I think Aston, something like that, Aston, yeah. Aston Ben videos herself committing a crime. She admits on video while she's doing it that she's obstructing ICE procedures and law enforcement in Tennessee right now. Right? She goes through the whole video. She says we've got our girl power team, and we're out. She looked like she was drunk. I don't know if she was. She looked like it. You know what I'm saying? And we're out obstructing ICE procedures and Tennessee law enforcement. Now, were they actually doing that? I don't know. She said she was doing it, right? On her video, there were flashing blue lights. It was dark, so you could see the flashing blue lights. So there were obviously police nearby. Were the police stopping them? They claim they were, right? And they were proudly announcing their crimes on video and published it. Now, who would be so stupid to do something like that, right? Well, obviously this bitch, right? But I don't think it's stupidity that's making her do it. I think she feels like she can. She feels righteous, like she can. Her emotions are leading her. She's a lefty. She can. She does not think, she just doesn't believe that it's possible that she's going to face any serious consequences from this whatsoever. She thinks I'm going to get some clicks. People are going to see me fighting the good fight. I might have to go to jail for a couple hours, but hey, I'm a Democrat state representative. They're not going to fucking keep me in jail. That's crazy. That's what she's thinking. That's why she thinks she can do this, right? And the reason why it's so important that we see accountability for LaMonica McIver and also for this woman is so that other people start getting the message like, yo, fuck around and find out. We are not fucking with you people, okay? You are not going to continue to waste our time while we're trying to do what we can do in the 4 years that is there to make the country the way the American people want it to be. So you people are just fucking wasting time and sucking air out of the fucking room, and we're not going to put up with that shit. That's why this is important, right? If these people are just allowed to continue to do shit like this, right, without consequences, and again, yes, we saw Hannah Dugan, the judge, get arrested. Yes, we saw Judge Cano get arrested. Yes, we've now seen Monica McIver being charged. Yes, what's her face? Letitia James is being charged. All great things, right? But we are not still yet to the point of the actual accountability. Being charged and being convicted are two different things. Up till now, nobody's been convicted of anything. And I'm not saying that it won't happen in 1 or 2 or 3 of these cases. It probably will. Then we're going to get to the punishment stage. What kind of punishment are these people going to face, right? And when they face the same punishment as every average American would in their position, then it counts as accountability, right? Accountability for, let's, by the way, remember, new situations. The judges, what's her name, Letitia James, the LaMonica thing, this Aston Bain thing, they're all new things, right? They're all new incidents that have been recently committed, and they also need to see accountability, but we also need to see accountability from past actions by big players, right? And up till now, it always seems like the big players just get away with everything. So we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out. We're going to keep, every time I hear about something like this, I'm going to keep putting it out there because it's crazy. Like, these people are really willing to let their career completely go to shit, risk jail time, you know what I mean? And they're just out there with both fingers in the air going, fuck you people, we're going to keep doing whatever the fuck we're doing. We don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Is the current administration just going to continue to let this shit slide or not? I'd really like to know. We're going to find out, guys, but we are moving a step in the right direction once again, just like everything else is that Trump is doing, right? It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, kind of, because of the judges and because of the injunctions and, you know, because people of his own administration are not playing ball. People of the Democrats and the left are not playing ball. Things are, you know, zigzag, kind of, but they're moving forward, right? They're moving forward. It does look like also the tariff things is going to work out and deal with China. You know, he stopped basically a war in Pakistan and India. They're working on the Ukraine thing. Israel's basically on the outs, you know what I'm saying, in the doghouse. All good things. Everything moving in the right direction. Still quicker than any other president has been able to accomplish anything in their whole fucking term in my lifetime. So I've got no complaints. I've just got skepticism in some areas, and we'll see if I turn out to be right or wrong. So guys, that's it. Celebrate the victory when you get them, right? It's a great thing. LaMonica is not in jail, right? No perp walk, no handcuffs. All right, no problem. She's still getting charged. It could be very serious. And we're going to wait and see what happens as it happens. That's all I got. All right, people. Have a great day. Almost weekend. Enjoy it. We'll see you tomorrow.